morning everyone. I myself Dharamveer Singh welcomes you on the behalf of SOMNATH English Medium School. Students, today we are going to learn about English text standard 8, a beautiful lesson, that is chapter 1, the best Christmas present in the world. It is a story about the British and Germany during the First World War when they were having the war. At that time such incident happened which has been created, which has been proved that it was one of the best gift for the soldier. That's why it is a letter written by a soldier to his wife who has been explaining that how we have celebrated the Christmas and how he has received the best gift in the world. So today we are going to learn a lesson, chapter 1, the best Christmas present in the world. So before the lesson gets started, there is something mentioned by the author. What he's been saying, there are some dates or periods of the time in the history of the world that are so significant that everyone knows and remembers it. So there are such incidents happen. Now we can easily resemble. If anyone tells you about that, what does the 1914 resemble to you? We can easily say it was the time of the First World War. So there are some time and some date has been mentioned. From that time and date, we can easily come to know that such incident has occurred in the world. The story you will read mention in such date and event a war between the British and the Germans in 1914. So can you guess which war it was? So as the word here the 1914 comes, it can be easily shown that it is the First World War and it was a war between the British and the German army. Now the lesson gets started. I spotted it in the junk shop at a Bridport. Bridport is the name of a place in England. Now spotted it. Spotted it means saw it. So here the author is saying that I saw it. One junk shop. Junk shop means where all the scraps items are being sold. So the author wanted to purchase something. So he went. He's been living in the Bridport. So he went to the junk shop to buy something. A roll-top desk. The man said it was the early 19th century. So when the author was been wandering in the junk shop, he saw a roll-top desk. So when the owner of the junk shop came, he said that this roll-top desk is about of 19th century, means it was prepared in the year 19th century, and oak, and it was made up of oak tree, means the furniture which was used in the roll-top desk, it was completely made up of oak tree. I had wanted one, but they were far too expensive. Now the author is saying that I wanted to buy such kind of roll-top desk, but it were very expensive. So it was not possible for me to buy a new one. That's why I have came here to buy this roll-top desk. This one was in the bad condition, the roll top in several pieces, one leg clumsy mended. So when the author saw that roll top desk, it was in very bad condition. It was been burnt somewhere, there were some markings of the burn, and even the one side of the roll top desk, one side of that, it was been repaired it can be easily seen that it was repaired, yes. So scratch marks all one side. It was going for a very little money. I thought I could restore it. So the condition of the roll top desk was not good, but it was for the budget of the author. The author can purchase it. It was at his budget. So he decided that I will be purchasing it and I will be repairing it in the garage. It would be a risk, a challenge, but I had to have it. Now the author wanted to buy it at any cost because it was affordable for him, and he decided to buy it, and he only decided to repair it. It was a challenge and it might be the risk also, but he was completely ready to do it. I paid the man and brought it back to my workroom at the back of the garage. Now the author has purchased that thing, that roll top desk, and he has brought it to the home and he has kept it in the back side of the garage. I began to work on it on Christmas Eve. So on the day of a Christmas Eve, he decided to make a repair of it. I removed the roll top completely and pulled out the drawer. Now he started taking out all the drawers of the roll top desk. The veneer had lifted almost everywhere. Veneer means the burning marks. Because whenever we see the furniture in our home also, there are sunmica. In other word, it is called sunmica because of it has caught fire. This veneer was completely burned and there were the marks of the burning. it looked like a water damage to me. So along with the fire also there was the watermark also. So it was completely damaged by the fire and the watermark. Both fire and water had clearly taken their tolls on the desk. The last drawer was stuck fast. So he has completely removed all the drawer, but the last one was completely stuck fast. Stuck fast means it was very shortly tied. It was not possible for the author to take it out. I tried all I could ease it out gently. In the end, I used a bird force. So first the author has tried much to take it out, but it was not possible for him. So at last he decided to use his whole strength, and he decided to take it out fast. So then I struck it sharply with the side of my fist, and the drawer flew open to reveal a shallow space underneath a secret drawer. So the author, he punched it very hard with a full force, and when he punched, the drawer came out, and he was surprised to know that there was one secret drawer inside the last one. There was something in there. I reached in and took out the small black tin box. So in the last drawer there was a secret thing which the author has found out. That was a tin box, a secret tin box which was been locked. Sellotape on the top of it was the piece of a lined note paper. So on the top of the tin box it was completely covered with one paper, and there was something written on it. And written on it a shanky handwriting. Shanky handwriting means we see when the old people write, their hands are been shrinking. The same way the writing which was there on the tin box was also in the shanky handwriting. Jim's had last letter received January 25th, 1915. So it was written that Jim who has written a letter. So Jim's last letter received on January 25, 1915. So this letter was received means it can be clear that in the tin box there was a letter, and it was written by Jim who has written the letter. Jim has written the letter, and it was written on January 25th, 1915. To be buried with me when the time comes. Along with this thing there was written that when I will die, when the owner of this box, when he will die, he wanted that this box also should be buried with him or her. I knew as I did it that it was wrong of me to open the box, but curiosity got the better of my sculptures. Now we all know that when we are been finding out someone's thing, we don't open it. But author also, he was very honest. He did not want it to open, but he was quite curious to know that what was there in the tin box. So he also could not wait for it, and he opened the tin box. He wanted to read the letter. So it usually does. Inside the box there was an envelope. Now when the author opened the tin box, there was an envelope. The address read. Now on the top of the envelope there is the address written. What the address it is? Mrs. Jane Macpherson, 12 Copper Beach, Bridport, Dorset. Dorset is a name of a place in the Britain. This address belongs to a place in the Britain, England. I took out the letter and unfolded it. It was written in pencil and dated on the top. Now when the author took out the letter from the envelope, so it was written with the pencil, and the date was there on. When was the letter written? It was written on December 26, 1914. So during the First World War, this letter was written in the pencil, with the help of pencil, and it was written on December 26, 1914. Now it is written. Now the letter gets start. Dearest Connie. So the letter is written to the Connie. It is the name of a woman. It might be the wife of the soldier. So the soldier is writing a letter to the Connie. So he has been addressing as Dearest Connie, I write to you in the much happier frame of mind because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you about at once. Now the writer is saying that I am very happy to write you something. I wanted to tell you something, that something strange has happened, which I cannot be completely stopped to tell you. So I am going to tell you something strange had happened. We all were standing to in our trenches. Standing to means taking up the position. Now the soldiers, when we see, when they are marching, they were in an attention position. So the soldier is writing that we were standing up in an trenches position yesterday morning. So yesterday morning means the letter was written on December 26th and this incident happened on 25th December. Christmas morning, it was crisp and quite all about, a beautiful morning as I have ever seen. As cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. Now the soldier is saying that we were standing in the trenches position and it was very cold and it looks such a, the same day it was as we see the Christmas day. How the Christmas day are, the snow is falling, it is completely cold over there and the soldiers was very happy to see that how the Christmas day should be. I should like to be able to tell you that we began it, but the truth I am ashamed to say is that Fritz began it. Now the incident got started. Now the soldier is saying that I wanted to tell you something better, but I am very bad to say that I did not start that thing. It was started by Fritz. Fritz means it is a name which we use for the German soldiers. Now this incident was started by the German soldiers. So Fritz is the common name which we use for the German army. First someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches position. Now there trenches means when we see a hollow, something hollow is dug which is been useful for the soldiers to stand and fight. So he saw that from the opposite side, mean from the enemy side, the white flag was flowing and we all were waiting for that why the enemies are been waving up the white flag. Then they all calling out to us from across no man land. No man land means it is a place which neither belongs to the anyone. It is a place which resembles the border between the two nations. So they saw somewhere some man shouting from the no man land. Happy Christmas, Tommy. So Tommy means it is a common name used for the English soldiers. It is an English name for the, in this chapter this Tommy is used for the English soldiers, name of an English soldier, and Fritz it is used for the German soldier. So there was some man who has been shouting, waving a white flag and saying Merry Christmas from the no man lands. So, Happy Christmas, Tommy, Happy Christmas. When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back, same to you, Fritz. Now, from the English side also, as from the enemy side, from the Germany side, there were people calling out, Happy Christmas. The same reply was given from them, that same to you. Now, I thought that would be that. We all did, but then suddenly one of them was up there in the grey great coat. Now, as we all replied back, now I thought that the soldier thought that it was complete. But then some person with a grey coat means it is a uniform of the German soldiers. So some men with a grey coat were coming towards the no man land. So, in the grey coat and waving a white flag, don't shoot lads, someone shouted. Now, as the German soldiers with a white flag, they were coming. No, now from our side also, we were also ready that something strange might have happened. But I commanded the soldiers that we should not shoot. Let's see what's happening. And no one did. Then there was another Fritz up on the parapet and another. Keep your head down. I told the man it's a trick, but it wasn't. Now, as the soldier, as being the army head, it was responsibility of the soldier to see the commander to see that the Germans might be playing some trick on us. So in order to say that, to see that what's happening, he told the other soldiers to be calm and to keep their head down. But it wasn't. Now, on the German was waving a bottle about his head. It's a Christmas day, Tommy. We have a schnapps. So, schnapps means it is a German drink made from grain. Now, slowly and steady, more and more German soldiers, they started coming to the no man land, and some of the soldiers were having a schnapps. Schnapps means it is a German drink, and they all were shouting, Merry Christmas, Tommy. Tommy means Merry Christmas to the British soldiers. So we had sausages. Sausages means it is a food items that we eat. So we met you, yes. By this time there were dozens of them walking toward us across no man's land and no rifle between them. So slowly and steady on the no man's land, the German soldiers started increasing, but they all were not having any rifle with them, and they all wanted to enjoy the Christmas day. So little rifle between them. Little Private Morris was first up. Come on boys, what are we waiting for? So one of the soldiers whose name was Morris, he was the first to tell from our side that why we are waiting. The Germans are enjoying and wanting us to also to come and join together. So let's go and join there. What are we waiting for? And then there was no stopping them. I was the officer. I should have stopped them, but there and there, I suppose, but the truth is that it never occurred to me I should. So being an officer, the soldier, the commander, he told that I being an officer, I wanted to stop the British soldiers to go there, but I couldn't say it anything because I wanted that all the soldiers, they were very eager to enjoy the Christmas party. All along their lines and I could see the men walking slowly towards one another, grey coat and khaki coat. Grey coat, it is a uniform of the German soldiers, and khaki coats, it is a uniform of the British soldiers. So slowly and steady, the numbers of the soldiers started getting increasing on the no man's land, and they all wanted to celebrate the Christmas festival. And I was one of them. I was a part of it. In the middle of the war, we were making peace. Now the soldier is saying that we all have gathered in the place, in one particular place, and we all wanted to maintain peace, and we did not wanted to have a war now. You cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feeling as I looked into the eyes of a Fritz officer who approached me, hand outstretched, hands full. Now the further the soldier is saying, the Jim is saying to his wife that you could not imagine that the German soldier's officer, whose name was Hans Wolf, he came first towards me and he was been waving his hand. He wanted to wave a hand to wish me a Merry Christmas. He said, gripping my hands warmly and holding it, I am from Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf, it is a place in Germany. So the German soldier named Hans Wolf, he greeted the Jim and he told that I am from a particular place named Dusseldorf in Germany. I play the cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas. Cello means it is a musical instrument like a violin. So he said that I am playing a cello in the orchestra, and he wished me a happy Christmas. Then further what happened? Captain Jean McPherson, I replied, and a happy Christmas to you too. I am a school teacher from the Dorset in the west of England. Now the Jean is been responding back. He said that I am a teacher in a school, and now I am being posted to the army, and I am a teacher at a Dorset. It is a place in the west of England, and I am a teacher, and at present I am the commander of all the soldiers. Ah, Dorset, he smiled. I know his place, I know this place, I know it very well. We shared my room ration and his excellent sausages, and we talked. So as the time passed, they have completely forgotten that they were the enemies, and they were celebrating the Christmas festival with a great joy and enthusiasm. And we talked. Connie, how we talked. He spoke almost a perfect English. Now it is said that German people, they rarely speak the English, very fluent English, but here the soldier was speaking very good English. So I also was quite curious to know that how this officer can speak such a good English. So in reply he said, but I turned out that he had never set foot in Dorset, never ever been to the England. He had learned all he knew of England from the school. So in further he is saying that this German soldier, he has never went to England, and neither he has been to any of the place in England, but how could he speak such English? So in reply he said, I learned everything from English from my school. And from reading the books in English, his favorite writer was Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy, one of the greatest writer of England. He is saying that I read out the books of Thomas Hardy, and from this I have came to know or learn about the English language. His favorite books were Far from the Meddling Crowd and So Out, No Man's Land. We talked about Bathsheba, Grable Oak, Sergeant Troy, and Dorset. These are the various characters of the Thomas Hardy's book. So they started discussing about the various incidents and various characters of the Thomas Hardy's book, and they were been enjoying the Christmas party. Then he and his wife and one son, both born just 6 months ago, and I looked about me, there was a huddle of khaki and grey everywhere. Further, the German soldier is been saying that I am living with my wife and a small son who has just born 6 months ago only. And further he saw that all the other soldiers, they all were enjoying the Christmas party and they all were dancing. So then, as I grew about me, there were huddles of khaki and grey everywhere, all over no man's land, smoking, laughing, talking, drinking, eating. So all the other soldiers, some were smoking, some were talking, laughing, and they all were enjoying. They have completely forgotten that they all are enemies, and now they are just treated as a friend. Hans Wolf shared with me the left of your wonderful Christmas cake, Connie. He thought the Merzifen means it is the upper covering of a cake which is very soft. So the German soldier, he gave the cake to that is Merzifen to the Jim, and they were enjoying the Christmas party. And what happened? As all the soldiers were dancing, playing, smoking, and suddenly Hans Wolf shared what was left with was a wonderful Christmas cake, Connie. We agreed about everything, and he was my enemy. There never was a Christmas party like it, Connie. So now here further the Jim is saying to his wife that even though we were army, but we were the enemies, but never such thing happened. We have completely forgotten that we were the enemies, and it was one of the wonderful gift that I received in the Christmas day. Then further what happened? Then someone, I don't know who, brought out a football. Now one of the soldiers, don't know from which army, either from England or from Germany, one of the soldiers had brought a football and they wanted to play a football match. Now great coats were dumped into the piles. Now what happened? Now all the soldiers, they have taken out their coats. The German soldiers, they have taken out their grey coat, whereas the England soldiers, they have taken out their khaki coat, and they had made up a pole. With a pole means which is been used for making a goal on the football match. So great coat were dumped in piles to make a goal post. And the next thing we knew, it was Tommy against Fritz. Now it was a match between a Tommy means England and the Fritz means Germany. That means it was a football match between the England and Germany. In the middle of no man's land. So no man's land, a place where we neither belong to any country. It is it shows the border of a two nation. In that place there was about to be held a football match. Fritz out in the middle on no man's land, Hans Wolf and I looked and cheered, clapping our hands. So now the Hans Wolf, who was the officer of the German army, and we all started clapping and we started encouraging the soldiers to win. Then clapping our hands and stamping our feet. So they were stamping the feet because it was very cold. We know that in the Christmas day, a snow is blowing and a cold wind is blowing. So in order to keep themselves warm, they were clapping also and they were patting their feet also to keep out the cold as much as anything. There was a moment when I noticed our breath miling in the air between us. So in the winter season, you see, when we are speaking up, some air is been coming out from the mouth. So the Jim also noticed that the air of the German soldiers and this England soldiers, the air where the breath was been mixing up, means they also resembled that there was a peace everywhere. Then Jim McPherson, he said after a while, I think this should how we should resolve the war. Now further the German soldier is saying that we should, this football match is the best way, that we should not have a war, but by playing the football match we can easily resolve the dispute what is there between us. A football match, no one dies in the football match. No children are orphaned, no wives are widow. Now further this is saying, if this football match is going on, so that no small children, no children will be orphaned. Orphaned means small children who have lost their parents, whose father or mother is not there. Such children are known as orphan. So further he said that the wolf said that if this football match is going on, then no children will be orphan and no ladies or no wife will be a widow. Widow means a lady who is not having a husband or whose husband is dead. I did prefer cricket. Then further the Jim said that the England is not good at football. So he wanted to have a cricket match because the Englands are very weak in the football match. So he thought that if it is a cricket match, then it would be very easy for England to win. Then we, Tommy, could be sure winning probably. Then further he said that if this is a cricket match, then Tommy, it would be then a Tommy, which means the England would have win it very clearly. We laughed that and all together we watched the match. Sad to say, Connie, Fritz won 2-1. And further they started enjoying it. But at last, what was the result? It was a win of Germany, and the win was of 2-1. Means the goal of German soldiers, they made 2 goals and the England made 1 goal. But that Hans Wolf generously said our goal was wider than that, so it wasn't quite fair. Then further his friend Hans Wolf, who was the officer of a German army, he appreciated the England soldiers. They said that our goal was wider. That was the reason why we are winning, and this win doesn't mean to me. The time came, and all too soon, when the game was finished. The snaps and the rums and the sausages has long since run out. We knew it all was over. Now, as the football match got completed, all the rums, sausages they were having, everything got completed. Now they knew that it was a time to go back to the duties. I wished Hans well and told him I hope he would see his family again soon, that the fight would end and we would all go home. Further they said that when the war gets over, I will be coming to the Germany to meet your wife and a small children, and this war would get ended and we all would go home. I think that was all the soldiers want on both the sides. Hans Wolf said, "Take care, Jim Macpherson. I shall never forget this moment for you." Then the Hans Wolf, who was a army soldier, means who was the head of a German soldier, he told me to take care, and he greeted me, and we all went to our position. Then he saluted and walked away from me slowly, unwillingly. Then at the end of time of the going, Hans Wolf, he saluted me, and with a great heart-hearted, he went to his post. I felt he turned to wave just once and then become one of the 100 of grey-coated men drifted backward to their trenches. Trenches means it is a place which is for the soldiers to hide. That night, back in our dugout. Dugout means it is a shelter for the soldiers made by digging. So where the soldiers can hide themselves and save themselves from the other enemies. So it is a place where all the soldiers have gathered and they have took their position. Then suddenly something more strange happened. It was, then we heard them singing a carol and singing it quite beautifully. Now suddenly from the German side, one more surprise was that the German soldiers, they were singing a carol, and the song was, it was Steely Night, Silent Night. A beautiful carol song was sung from the German soldiers, and in reply, our boys gave them a rousing chorus of a While Shepherd Watched. In the reply, the English soldiers also gathered them and they also started singing a song. We exchanged carols for a while and then we all fell silent. We had our time of peace and goodwill, a time I will treasure as long as I live. Then further the Jim is saying it was one of the best and the wonderful Christmas gift and I will never forget in my life. Dearest Connie, by Christmas time next year, this war will be nothing but a distant of a terrible memory. I knew from all that happened today how much both armies long for peace. We shall be together again soon. I am sure for it. Your loving Jim. Then here the letter gets ended and the Jim is been saying at the end that these both the soldiers either from from the British and from the Germany. They doesn't want any war. They wanted the peace and they wanted to live with the family. And this was the one of the best game I would ever be in my life. Now I folded the letter. Now it comes again to now the letter was complete over, and now the author, what he's doing, I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into the envelope. Now author also know that this letter is one of the best letter and it is one's precious thing, so it has to be handed to someone whom it belongs to. So he folded the letter and again he kept it into the envelope. I kept awake all night. By morning I knew what I had to do. Now the letter was after reading the letter, the author was so fascinated that for the whole night it was not possible for him to sleep, because he knew that in the early morning what work he has to do. I drove into the Bridgeport. Now he looked at the envelope, the top of the envelope where the address was there. So on the next morning he went to the Bridgeport. It is also the place to the west of England. He went over there. Then just a few miles away, it was very near from the author's house. So he went there. Then further, I asked a boy walking with his dog where Cooper Beaches was. Now further, he said he asked about the location. The name of the street was the Cooper Beaches. So he asked a boy who was been walking with his dog. So for he in reply, he showed him the address. It was house number 12. Turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell, a roof gaping, and a window border. Then the boy said that this address belongs to a house number 12. It was completely burned out. Burned out means it was destroyed by the fire. Along with that, it was boarded up. Boarded up means covered with a wooden boards. Means the condition of the house, it can be said, it was very deteriorating. I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew whereabout was of Miss Macpherson. Now the condition of the house was very bad and no one was living there. So the author, what he did, from the neighbor, he wanted to know about the Mrs. Macpherson. So, oh yes, said the old man in his slipper, he knew her well. A lovely old lady, he told me, a bit muddle-headed. So now there, when he knocked out the door, an old man wearing a slipper, he came out, and when he asked about the Mrs. Macpherson, he told that I knew her and she is a very good old lady. Then further, he told me a bit muddle-headed. Muddle-headed means in the confused manner, that no one, why he was confused, because no person was there who came here, who was been asking for the Mrs. Macpherson, and after a long time there is someone who has came and who has asked about the Macpherson. Oh yes, said the old man in a slipper. He knew he was well, a lovely old lady. He told me a bit muddle-headed, but at her age, she wasn't entitled to be, wasn't she? 101 years old. So now the age of the Mrs. Macpherson, she was 101 years old. And 101 years old, she has been in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. She used candles rather than electricity because she always thought electricity was too expensive. So he said that the old lady, Mrs. Macpherson, used to live here, that no one knows the reason that how the house has caught fire. So someone might have expected that this fire might have caught because of candle, because Mrs. Macpherson used candle for lighting the house rather than electricity, because she believed that it was very expensive. Because she always thought electricity was too expensive, the fireman had got her out just in time. She was in nursing home now, he told me, Burling House on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. Now further he said a fireman, he was very good to her, that he took out the Mrs. Macpherson from the house which has caught fire, and now she is not living here, she is living in the nursing home, which the address he gave, it was Burlingston Town on the Dorchester Road. Now it was on the other side where the author was there, it was on the other side, a place here, Dorchester in England. I found Burling House nursing home easily enough. Now it was very easy for the author to find out the house. He right on the spot went there. There were paper chains up in the hallway and lightning Christmas tree stood in the corner with a lopsided angels on top. I said I was a friend come to visit Macpherson. So he visited that place, that nursing home, and he asked the owner that I wanted to meet Mrs. Macpherson to bring her a Christmas present. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing. Now it was also Christmas day, so there also all the people, they were wearing up the paper hat and they all were singing the Christmas song. So the matron had a hat on too and seems happy enough to see me. Now the matron means a person who takes care of Mrs. Macpherson. She also was wearing a paper hat and she was very happy to see me. Then she even offered me a mince pie. Mince pie, it is also a sweet which we offer to the which is been prepared on the various festival. Then she walked me along the corridor. Mrs. Macpherson is not in all with the other. So when they both, she took him to the corridor, but he found it out when they were moving toward the corridor. Then the author was seeing that where is Mrs. Macpherson, but he was unable to find where she was. She told me she is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. She has no family, you know, no one visit, so I am sure she will be only too pleased to see you. Now further the matron said that no one comes to meet her and she always remains confused. She neither enjoys anything, always she has been in her room, and she will be very happy to see you because after a long time someone has came to see her. She took me into the controversy with a wicker chair and potted plants all around the left me. So further she took her to the conservatory. It is a place means on the outer of the house where the flower pots are there, and there the author saw that there was one lady who was sitting on a wheelchair. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair. Her hands were folded in her lap. She had a silver white hair pinned into the wispy bun. She was gazing out at the garden. Then further when the author saw Mrs. Macpherson, then he saw the lady who was sitting on a wheelchair. Her hands were folded, silver hair, and she was looking out to the garden side. Then further now the author went near the Mrs. Macpherson, and what he said, "Hello," I said. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. Vacantly means in the confused position, means who the person was who has been greeting me hello. Then, "Happy Christmas, Connie," I went on. "I found out this. I think it's your." As I was speaking to her, eyes never left my face. I opened a tin box and gave it to her. Now further the author, he greeted the Mrs. Macpherson Merry Christmas, and he told the whole incident that he had find out a surprise tin box and he had finded out the letter, but the eyes of the lady, it was completely looking at the face of the author, and then he gave him a tin box where the envelope was. That was the moment her eyes light up. Now light up means it became very bright. When as soon as she has received the tin box, her eye completely light up means she was very happy to receive the thing. Now light up with a recognition, and her face became soft with a sudden glow of happiness. Soft of means a glow of happiness. So when she saw the box, a tin box, so she was very happy to receive the box, and she started means the face looked like that she has been able to recognize who the author was. I explained about the desk and about how I had found it, but I don't think she was listening. So the author started narrating the whole incident that how he had got the tin box, but the lady, he was not at all listening to what the author was speaking, and she said nothing but struck out the letter tenderly with her fingertips. So the whole incident was narrated by the author, but the lady, she didn't spoke anything, only she took out the letter and she started reading it. Suddenly she reached out and took my hand. Her eyes were filled with tears. Now the Mrs. Macpherson was not knowing who the author was. After reading the letter, Mrs. Macpherson did, she holded the hand of the author and her eyes were filled up with tears. "You told me you had come home by Christmas, dearest," she said, "and here you are." Now, the incident is that the Mrs. Macpherson, she was been referring the author as Jim. She thought that it is Jim who has came home, because the Jim has wrote in the letter that he will be coming in the Christmas Eve. Now, the Mrs. Macpherson was resembling the author as a Jim, and she was very happy to see him. She thought that my husband has came home after a war. I sat down beside her. Now the author was also very calmly. He did not wanted to break the heart of Mrs. Macpherson. So he also started following him, and he sat near Mrs. Macpherson. So I sat down beside her. She kissed my cheek. I read out the letter so often, Jim, every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. It always made me feel you were with me. And now you are. Now, when the author was reading up the letter, Mrs. Macpherson was very happy, because she had a desire that the Jim would come home and he would read the letter. And Mrs. Macpherson was feeling very happy after a long time that her husband her husband was not there, but it was the author. But Mrs. Macpherson was believing that it is her husband only, and he is reading a letter for her. So she was very happy. Then, "Would you do that for me, Jim dear? I just want to hear your voice again. I had loved that so much, and then perhaps we will have some tea." Now Mrs. Macpherson is saying that you again start reading the letter, means the previously when you used to come to home, that time you were used to read the letter. Now same thing, you do it for me today. After reading the letter, we will have a tea. Then I have made you a nice Christmas cake that is merciful, a cake which the soldiers, with the Jim has mentioned, with the German soldier had given him. The same cake was prepared by Mrs. Macpherson, and it was one of the wonderful gift for the Mrs. Macpherson. And all around, I know how much you love Macpherson. Now, that Mrs. Macpherson, now she is saying that you read the letter. After reading the letter, we will have a tea, and I had prepared a beautiful cake for you, and I know that this cake is being liked by you, and this one is one of the best wonderful gift for me. So here comes the end of the lesson. In this lesson, we have learned about how the author, he has found it out of a shelf, and in the shelf he had found it out the secret letter. In the letter, everything about the incident of the German and the England soldiers, even though being an enemy, they started enjoying the Christmas festival. And after a long time, the author being very legal to the Mrs. Macpherson, he decided to give the letter to the Mrs. Macpherson. He traveled a long distance, and when he gave the letter to the Mrs. Macpherson, what was the happiness, and it was one of the wonderful gifts which the Mrs. Macpherson has received at the age of 101.